do you literally say that you will serve everybody and ask to see it, or it should be in their material? Has your staff had specific cultural competency training or just even training around LGBTQ issues? Do you have any out members of the administration or other staff? How comfortable, just a soft question, how comfortable do you think your gay and lesbian, bisexual and transgender participants or residents feel here? Do you have current families that I could talk to? So those are some of the questions I would ask.
I would think that would be a big question, at least that I would have, is being able to talk to others in the community about how they're treated and how they feel.
That's right. And also, I just want to throw out, I'm sure this would not be a surprise to you or most of your listeners, these issues really affect everyone. There are many, many straight people who have gay parents, who have gay siblings, who have gay children, and they want to know that they would be welcome to sit in meetings and make decisions and visit and all of that. So really being an LGBTQ inclusive and culturally competent institution is only going to help everybody.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree, but there seems to be a lack in some areas about a feeling of inclusion and welcoming people regardless of their sexuality. So, but what do you hear specifically in your position at Iona from the LGBT community of seniors about what their needs and concerns are from their standpoint? What issues come up repeatedly that you would like to mention?
Sure. Happy to answer that question. We do a lot of work with individual small groups of LGBTQ older adults, so these questions come up a great deal. One of the top things we hear about is social isolation, the need to meet people, how to connect, how to make friends, how to find romantic partners as well. And as I think I mentioned earlier, a lot of those resources may have dried up. Maybe I didn't mention it earlier. It was a conversation I had this weekend with some people. A lot of those resources have dried up. A lot of the LGBTQ bars have closed. Whether a bar is a place you want to hang out or not, whether you drink or not, we used to be a gathering place, and there are just fewer of them. Here in D.C., we used to have a wonderful older lesbian conference once a year that drew people together to plan it and then host it and have it, and that went by the wayside 15 or so years ago. So finding new friends and connections is hard. I already talked about housing and the challenges of moving into a different place. But a lot of it boils down to who is going to drive me to my colonoscopy? Who can I trust to be my financial power of attorney? If I have no children and I have no spouse and my sister lives in California or my sister lives in 2 towns away but hasn't spoken to me in 30 years, who's going to be there for me?
Yeah, this is very true. And I know that Iona Senior Services' mission is to help people with the challenges and opportunities of aging. And they've been doing that since 1975. But I know some of the programming that you have personally spearheaded at Iona and otherwise for LGBTQ older adults. What kinds of things do you have, programs do you have, and what is that process like? And just chat about things that you are doing. I know you're just a wealth of information and expertise on this topic, and I'd like you to share with the listeners what you have done through Iona.
I'm really proud of what we've been able to do in the last couple of years, really very intentionally this past year with a lot of new money. So one thing we did is offer what we call our Take Charge, Age Well workshop for LGBTQ people. It was offered twice. That's a better title. I mean, we have a better title in real life, but that's basically what it was. It was a full day Saturday and one day in April and one day in May for 25 LGBTQ folks over 60. And we brought them together to begin to think about just what I was talking about before, sort of who in your network can help you. What do you want to have your aging look like? Where do you want to be living? What are your goals? How can you begin to make that plan? And the content was fantastic. It got people thinking about planning for their aging, but equally importantly, it brought 25 people who share a life experience together, and there was so much joy and laughter and connection in those groups. It was really, really wonderful.
And then I was proud. Right there with those people, they immediately have a friendship with them, which is wonderful.
That's exactly right. And at least one gentleman emailed me the next day, and he said, could you give me the email for that guy I had lunch with? And so I got permission from the guy I had lunch with and made that connection. So who knows if there was a romance there or not, but friendship. Great. That's right. Completely. Well, and then
Yeah,
I just want to say we got funding from the DC Office on Aging, which is our local government aging agency, to offer support groups for LGBTQ older adults over 60. So we're running 5 of them right now, and they just started. We've got a couple of people in each group, and I attended one of them. People are so excited to have a twice-a-month opportunity to come and sit in a peer support group model. So this is not a therapy group, but it's a little bit different from a social group. It's an intentional conversation, and it's facilitated by a trained peer facilitator. And there's just a lot of need for that, to meet that need for decreasing social isolation.
That's absolutely wonderful. That's great. How has the older adult community in DC responded to LGBTQ older adult programming? What need still exists? What do you want to still accomplish?
Well, one of the big issues is, how do we reach everybody, right? There's no one mailing list. People don't walk around colored purple, right? So we have to find them. So a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is, putting some ads in our local gay press, but not everyone reads that. So it's really reaching people, and that's our challenge.
Excellent. I think what you're doing is absolutely fabulous. I'm hoping that this program will help spread the word about it and get more in conversation out in the open. And how hungry are LGBTQ older adults for the community and connection? It seems to me that what you're doing is really providing a wonderful service by having the twice a month sessions and other things. But how can this be measured as far as the competency in an organization or a company or a service, surface level and structural, and deeper than that even?
Well, I think to answer the question of how it's being received, I think there are 2 broad categories of folks. This would probably be true of almost any service you're offering. They're the people who really need it, and then there are people who don't need it. So I don't want to overstate the case and suggest that every older LGBTQ person in America or DC is alone and childless and sitting in the room. They don't know what to do. Many, many, many of my friends have rich and full lives, deeply connected in many communities, professional, faith communities, recreational opportunities, and they don't need a support group because they actually have enough friends and connections and things to do. And then there are the people who, for whatever reason, those connections have frayed or were never built. And that's where I think a social service agency like Iona can come in. We have a wonderful gay and lesbian running group in D.C., most big cities do, called the Front Runners. And the Front Runners, they run. That's what they do. And it's a multi-generational group, and we have people over 60 there, and their needs to have connection and run are there. Iona can help those who just need a little bit of extra help.
Well, you have been absolutely fabulous about this whole thing. Is there anything else that we can add to help our audience find out more information, or just what Iona Services provides that people would be interested in? Because I know it's not just for the LGBTQ community, but other issues that come up just with the challenges of aging. And we're going to have another guest come on from Iona who's going to talk about aging solo. And that's a universal topic, actually, though.
Mm-hmm. That's right. One of the great things about Iona is that we have a helpline, which is answered Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, by several very well-trained social workers. So I want to give that number a couple of times and explain what it is again. So the helpline is 202-895-9448. That's 202-895-9448. That's Iona's helpline. Anyone, anywhere in the country can call that number with a question about aging. Now, if you're local to D.C., obviously we know a billion resources, and many of them might be in Iona's building. But if you're calling from Colorado because you've got a mother who lives in Louisiana and you don't know how to find her help, we can at least get the first step of where to call in Louisiana. So I urge anyone to make that call. If they have any questions really about anything related to aging, we can try to help.
Now, one last thing, Susan, I don't want to keep you any longer, but you have been a joy to have on the program. Could you provide an email or contact information for people who want to talk to you directly?
Certainly. So my name is Susan Messina, and that's spelled Messina. So my email is pretty simple. It's smessina, SMESSINA, at Iona.org, and that's IONA.org.
Wonderful. Well, I do appreciate so much your joining me today, and we'll have to have you back And if you think of some other topic that might be important for this podcast, I hope you'll contact me, because I think our listeners are very ready to hear what you have to say. And you are such a treasure trove of information. It's wonderful to have you.
It was wonderful to be here, Debbie. I wish you a good day.
Thank you, Susan. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.